Hey guys, it's Justin. I get asked all the time, which of your Mustangs is your favorite? Now, of course, you're gonna already know that it's hard to put a favorite. It's kind of asking like which one of your kids is your favorite. You like all these cars for a different reason. They all have different things about them that I enjoy, and some of them have things that I enjoy about them that the others don't have. So I thought I'd start out and talk about the Blue Mach 1. This car was my first V8 Mustang. I had a V6 before it, and I really wanted a V8, so I got the Blue Mach 1. I couldn't quite afford a Terminator at the time, but I was very happy to be able to get a Blue Mach 1 because it was a very important car to me. I loved the color. I loved everything about it. Of course, it wasn't supercharged, but it was still a very fast car, and coming from a V6, it was just wonderful to have a car like this. What I like about the Blue Mach 1 is the transmission in this car is the smoothest that I've ever driven. I drove a Bullet that had a 5,000 mile 3650 transmission in it, just like this, and with only 5,000 miles on it, it felt just like this one. The clutch is super smooth. It has a stock clutch in it. The seats are beautiful. The paint is amazing on this car. When I first bought it, I was worried about daily driving it, and I realized that I could daily drive my V6 and I could still have this car and keep it nice and keep it in the garage, have it more of a garage queen, and I've been able to preserve it because of that. I love the look of this car. I love the deep dish wheels. It's lowered just right, has a short shifter. The exhaust has a catted X pipe with SLP Loudmouth 1 catback, so it's not extremely loud and raw, but it's throaty, and it's a pleasure to drive. This is a car I like taking out with my wife, cruising around the lake, cruising up in the mountains, you know, going around places here in town that are fun to go on. I like going to lunch with my wife in this car. I take it down to Las Vegas and go to the drag strip to watch. You know, it's a car that I can cruise in. And it's all around just a beautiful car, but I worry about leaving it places because it's so nice. When I first got this car, I would look in the rearview mirror in fright that someone was going to rear end it. I was so protective of the car. I still am very protective of the car, but I remember driving around and just hoping that like nothing would ever happen to it. And I take good care of it. I park it in the back of the parking lot. You know, I don't let my kids like run their hands on it or touch it. It's just something that's very, very special, and it was very well preserved. The guy who owned this car before me worked the night shift, and it went in the garage in the daytime. It hasn't really seen the sun much. The paint's not fading or anything, so it's definitely a beautiful car. I enjoy driving it. It's not the fastest of all the Mustangs that I have, but it gets up and goes, and it's a Mach 1. It's got the shaker hood. It's got the unique azure blue color. I just can't say enough about how nice the car is and how it's nice to have, but I don't like taking it places and leaving it. You know, I don't like leaving it where it can get door dings and things. And so sometimes I'll drive this car and then I'll come home and I'll get in one of the other cars that I daily drive, my Mach 1 or my Bullet, and I drive it and I feel more relaxed and comfortable because I'm not worried about the car, you know, getting hurt. So that's the Blue Mach 1. That's why I like it. It's very smooth running, very beautiful car. Now, with that said, the reason I bought the Bullet was to have a nice daily driver. A nice car that's a V8, something that I can enjoy, go out, do donuts in, drag race. All the things that I was worried about hurting the Blue Mach 1 with, I could do with the Bullet and not worry so much because it was higher mileage. I could leave it in parking lots. You know, here's some sound bites of it with the supercharger and built engine. I really love this car too. This car just thumps. You park, or you know, you get driving down the road, you stop at a stoplight, and someone comes up behind you. You know that they're listening to that. You know that they, you know, my friends have told me that they can hear this car over theirs when they're parked, you know, in front of it at a stoplight. The Bullet has been my partner in crime since 2011. I built this car up. It was stock when I bought it. You know, I'll have a whole video about it later, but I've won over 100 races in this car. I've built it from stock to supercharged built engine, aluminum drive shaft, short shifter, everything. This car has everything done to it. And I like that it's true blue. I like that it's one of 722. If you break down the numbers, it's actually one of 54 with the non-mock audio. And of those, it's even one of 26 that were the non-Canadian non-mock auto cars. So it's a very rare car, and you know, a lot of people don't really understand what it is. They see a Mustang without a spoiler, and that's funny because a lot of people try to race me in it and they get their butts kicked. You know, when I'm in the red Mach 1, they're kind of scared of that car because it looks a little more vicious. And so anyway, this Bullet was my daily driver for several years, and I like that I could take it out and leave it in a parking lot at the store, run in real quick. It has got a couple dings over the years, which shows that taking care of my blue Mach 1 and the other cars and not letting them, you know, into parking lots all the time and stuff has paid off. Now I don't just park this car anywhere I want. I still park it away from everybody. I still take very, very good care of it. I keep it waxed. I keep it cleaned up. But you know, it already had some cracking on the clear coat. It already had some blemishes. It already had 126,000 miles on it when I bought it, and now it's at 160,000. And I've definitely got my use out of it. Now, I love when I drive this car to work and I get back, and there are times where I go on a drive and I think, which one of my Mustangs do I want to take today? I love the variety. And a lot of times I'd be like, well, I'm going to take the Bullet. Even though I've been driving it all week, even though it's my daily driver, I still want to take it out on the weekends. So I'd take it out on the weekends. I'd take it, go for drives and stuff. But having the Bullet's been fun because you know, it's been the underdog. It's a 2-valve. You know, I could do headers, gears. I could do all the things with all the bolt-ons before it lost the first engine at the drag strip, which is another story. But I did all those things to it. I would put my drag radials in the back. I'd drive down to the racetrack and race it, and switch, you know, the tires and race the car, switch them back, drive home, and I didn't worry about the car as much. And I wasn't trying to compete for a 10-second quarter-mile slip. I was just trying to get what I could out of it and have fun, learn how to race. You know, it's got the fog lights with the, you know, it's got HID fog lights and headlights. It's got interior LEDs, you know, the deep dish wheels, the loud raw exhaust. You know, this car has no cats. It's got the SLP loudmouth catback, and of course the built engine with the supercharger, which adds some displacement to the sound. It's if you stand behind this car, you can hear, you know, it's just heavier, it's thicker, it runs really hard. So with that, it's just an animal. It's super raw. You get on it, you know, and it just echoes everywhere you go. And I love how loud it is. So the Blue Mach 1 doesn't have that. The Blue Mach 1 isn't as fast, you know, it isn't as raw, and it's you know, it's a car that I take too much care of. This car I can go out and enjoy. So I really love the Blue Bullet. Love the fuel door. I love the seats. You know, everything about a Bullet's special. Everything about a Mach 1 and a Cobra is special too. But this car is something that that I've really enjoyed over the last, you know, 8 or 9 years. Daily driving it, having something special, having something unique. But then again, it's not a show queen. You know, people look at it and they'll see the dent on the quarter panel and they're like, oh, when did that happen, or whatever. And I'm like, well, I bought it that way. You know, when I bought this car, the seats were slashed from the previous owner's ex-wife. It had a big dent in the door. I replaced the door with the one from another GT that was the same color. I put a lot of work in this car. I put my heart and soul into this car. And so it shows. I mean, you can see how much is done to it. Now, what I really like about it is I love the GT hood scoop. I love the Bullet side scoops. I love the different things about it. When I had the Mach 1 first, I loved the shaker hood. I loved everything that was special to the Mach 1. But I also like the GT stuff. You know, I really like the Bullet stuff, and it was hard to choose between the two. And so it was nice to have both. The Bullet wheels, the brakes, everything that's special to the Bullet. Now, with the Bullet all built up, supercharged, you know, built engine, all the things that it had, I started to feel guilty about daily driving it and putting lots of miles on it. I liked racing it, you know, and I, I loved daily driving it because I would, whoop on a Scat Pack that came up next to me, or, ZL1 Camaro. There were lots of cars that I would beat in the Bullet. But I got to the point where I moved, and now my commute to work was 18 miles each way, and I was just driving and driving and driving, and the miles were starting to rack up on the Bullet, and I thought, I'd really like to have a good daily driver. And I talked to my friends about it, and I said, you know what, I think the ideal daily driver would be a 4-valve, a Mach 1, something that has plenty of power, runs smooth, but it's not, chopping with the cams and everything at the stoplight, which I love, but, sometimes it's nice to just have a smooth running car. So I thought, well, maybe you should daily drive the blue Mach 1. Well, I thought about it, and I just thought, it still only had, 80,000 miles on it, which isn't super high, but it's not super low either. And I wanted something that I could modify. Like, you see this blackout panel on the Mach 1. I put that on because I didn't want to do that to my blue Mach 1, but I really liked the idea. And so I was able to get this red Mach 1 and do all the things to it that I didn't want to do to the blue one. Daily drive it, plasti dip the valence underneath there, put on that blackout panel and stuff. And so this Mach 1 served the purpose of becoming the new daily driver. It had 143,000 miles on it when I bought it. I got it for a great price. I put HID headlights in it and fog lights. Actually, they're LEDs. But anyway, I love red. I love having a bright car. I get a lot of attention in this car, which could be a good thing and a bad thing. The cops are always looking at me, but I love walking out to a bright car. I'm just a bright personality, so it's really fun to have the Bullet, as a daily driver. But then getting this car has been amazing because it's, super fun. It's bright. It's loud. I welded in some SLPs, so it has no cats and SLPs, so it's really raw, really loud. I love cruising with my brother. He's got a red Mach 1, my cousin too. But this is a car that, with high miles on it, I don't worry about taking it on road trips. This is us going down to a car show. I'll drive it down to Vegas to watch the races. Anywhere I got to go through town, go run errands, I jump in the Mach 1. It runs smooth. It's a decently fast car. It's bright. It's all the things I enjoy driving. And same with the Bullet. I'll daily drive this car, and then I'll get home and I'll need to go somewhere, and I think, well, I could take the Cobra, I could take the Bullet, I could take this, and sometimes I just want to take the red Mach 1. I've done a lot of things to this car to make it nicer. It didn't have the interior upgrade package, so I added the bigger headrests and the silver door pins for the locks. I changed the radio bezels because they had, switches and things in them, and they were kind of ugly and mismatched and stuff. And I put on the deep dish rear wheels. I lowered it some more. But this car was a great. This car's been a great daily driver, especially since when I bought it, it came with a brand new radiator, brand new serpentine belt. The battery was new. It just had everything ready to be a good daily driver. New brakes, the only thing I've had to do on this car is a water pump, and I expect that. It has 159,000 miles on it now, and I enjoy driving it. It's loud, it's raw. People get up next to me and they get scared of the car. So it's fun to drive it around. I love the bright color, like I said. I mean, this car has been something to walk out to. I can leave it in a parking lot. I don't, it's in great shape. The paint's even better than the Bullet was when I bought the Bullet. But it's not perfect either. It's got some high miles on it, and there is a little bit of fading on the top of the trunk lid for some reason. But it's a fun car. It's bright, and I just love daily driving this car, and I don't worry about how many miles I put on it and all that stuff. So the red Mach 1 has served that purpose. It's taken the role of the Bullet. It's given the Bullet a break. You know, it's a car that I've been putting lots of miles on, but I enjoy driving it. I don't even think about the miles. I don't even look down to see how many miles are on it. You know, they come up on me pretty quick. I look, you know, when I do check, I'm like, oh wow, it's got 10,000 more miles on it. But it's a beautiful looking car, and I got it for a great deal. So, you know, I just I love this car too. So it has things about it that I like that the other ones don't have. You know, the ability to drive it and not worry about the miles. The red, I love the torch red. I mean, later I got my torch red Terminator, but until this point I haven't had a torch red car, and torch red's one of my favorite colors, if not my favorite color. Um, but this is, you know, it's also a nice car where the seats are not perfect, and so I don't mind putting the car seats in the back with the kids. You know, with my other cars, I worry about the car seats digging into the leather. Now, when I do take the kids places, I put, you know, pillows down and stuff. I try to make it really nice, um, so that I don't hurt the car anymore. But I don't feel guilty when the kids ride in it and they touch the windows and they have wood chips on their shoes from playing at the park and they jump in the car. I can vacuum that all out later, but I don't worry about it as much as I worry about the other cars. You know, I had it at a church activity the other night, and the kids that I teach, you know, the 12, 13-year-olds, they were running around it. They loved the car. But they were touching it, touching the paint, leaning on it, you know, stuff that if they were doing that to my Cobra, I'd be pretty upset about. Um, but this car, it's already a little bit rough, yet still really, really nice. But I put the Mach 1 wheels on the front from my blue Mach 1, and then I bought the deep dish wheels. It came with salines, it came with tinted tail lights, it came with a bunch of little things that I changed. But it's been a fun little mini project car. It's been nice to have a car that I can do some tasteful modification to, mostly cosmetic, you know, interior, things that the car needed, that I had all the extra pieces saved up and I put them all on this car. And so it's been a great car for that, and I've been very happy to daily drive it, and it's a great daily driver. So now we get into the Terminator Cobras, okay? Competition orange, '04, it's got the right heads on it, it's got everything that you would want in a Cobra. One of 281 coupes made in this color. This is a beautiful car. This is a car that I have to probably say this is my favorite, probably just because of how rare it is, how expensive it was. I took out a second job and paid it off early. I really wanted this car. You know, everybody who has a New Edge Mustang loves the Terminators. They aspire to have a Cobra, and it's unreachable for a lot of people. It was for me when I first started out. That's why I got the Mach 1 first. But this car is the beauty queen, and you know, for those reasons though, I'm scared to drive it. Places where I worry about someone hitting it. You know, if it's a busy time of year in town and there's a lot of people visiting and there's a lot of traffic, I don't want to take this car out. I don't want to risk somebody bumping into it. I don't want to risk, you know, it getting dinged up in a parking lot. When I go into Walmart, you know, if I park this in the back, even in the back of the parking lot, I worry about it. I think, you know, is somebody going to park next to it? Is somebody going to scrape it? You know, there are times where I'm like, you know what, I just want to leave, and we'll go put the Cobra away, and we'll come back with the Mach 1 or something. So the orange Terminator Cobra, supercharged, everything that makes this car special is probably the reason why I love it the most. I've always loved Torch Red, and the competition orange seemed like it would be something really fun to get. It was kind of a crazy idea, and I looked for a long time to get this car. You know, I looked for like 6 months, and then I was able to get this car, and ever since I've kept an eye out, and they're just hard to come by. Now this car is stock. It's got a cat back and a short throw, but that's it. You know, so then you think, well, this is your animal, right? Well, it's actually not as fast as the Bullet. The Bullet's quicker. I've actually raced this car against my Bullet, and the Bullet, you know, walked away from it because this is a stock car. It doesn't put down as much power as the Bullet did. But, you know, I think about modifying this car, and you get talking to people, and they're like, you know, you you probably shouldn't modify that car. Still has the stock lower on it. It's never been pulleyed. It's never been tuned. You know, it's becoming very, very rare to find a Terminator that hasn't been modified. And it's not that I, you know, worry about the car so much that I'm not going to modify it or drive it to my liking. If I want to, I'll go buy a new bigger blower and fuel system and I'll get the car tuned and I'll do that to the car. But to me, it's become really fun to own this car and own it as a rare, low mileage, stock car. There is a lot of fun in that. You know, some people might look down on that, but I actually have quite enjoyed owning the car in this shape. It's nice to walk out to the garage and open the hood and look at the stock supercharger, stock injectors, stock intake, and see what this car was like brand new. It still smells new. It's like driving a brand new car. And you get to enjoy that level of collectorship. And so for that reason, I really like this car. You know, it's beautiful. It's all the things that I love. But at the same time, I don't want to daily drive it. It's fun when I do drive it, and, you know, and you get up next to somebody for a race or something, and it's a bright, fun, crazy car to drive, and I do love it. But I also don't see the need to be driving it every day, putting a ton of miles on it, wearing it out, letting it fade in the sun. You know, competition orange fades really bad on the bumpers in the sun. So it's been nice to have this car, but keep it preserved and keep it the way that a Terminator should be. You know, keep it nice, keep it not worn out or anything. Now, that leads me to the next thing. Okay, well, you have a Terminator, but you don't mod it. You know, don't you miss that at all? Well, my friends, this is where the Torch Red comes in. My favorite car of all time was the Torch Red Terminator Cobra. When I was growing up, there was one in my neighborhood, and I looked at that car and I was like, that's the car I want. You know, later my decision was swayed by the competition orange, so I had picked that one up first. But part of me still always wanted the Torch Red Terminator. And the 10th anniversary package is just icing on top of the cake. You know, it's the seats and all the cool things, the wheels. Even though the wheels aren't my favorite, you know, I like them, and it's something cool that I can swap off. And you'll see in these pictures how I've swapped the chrome Terminator wheels on, and I can switch them back and forth. But anyway, this is the car that I had always envisioned having. You know, when I was younger, I used to think, where is my Cobra? It's got to be in a garage somewhere. Somebody owns it now, but it's going to be mine one day. And, you know, as I went through all these other Mustangs I've owned, I've been extremely content and happy. But part of me always wanted a Torch Red Cobra. You know, I had a Laser Red 97 Mustang. I love the metallic red, but the Torch Red to me was more of a race color. It was raw and tough, all those things. So anyway, I really love this car. Again, it's like the orange one where I worry about taking it places. I don't want to leave it in parking lots. It's a very valuable, low mileage, rare car. But at the same time, this car has already been modified. It has a ported supercharger on it. It has welded subframe connectors. It's got a lot of things on it already, so I don't feel the same obligation to the orange Terminator as I do to this one as for keeping it stock. Now, I'm not going to modify it in some crazy way where I, you know, change the spoiler or the hood or put a cowl hood or, you know, anything like that on it. I'm going to take very good care of this car, and I love this car, and it's been a dream of mine for a long time. But I'm not afraid to modify it. I have plans to put a bigger supercharger and a fuel system on it, and it already has upgraded axles, so I can take it to the track and I can run it really hard and enjoy it and do all the things with it that the orange Cobra has had on the back burner. You know, I can't really do all those things with the orange Cobra, more because I don't want to. I mean, look at those seats. The 10th anniversary seats are so fun. When you get in this car and you're driving down the road, you see the red on the door pulls and the red on the mirrors and the red on the seats and the steering wheel. You know, when you grab that steering wheel, it feels different than any of the other ones. Even though, you know, the orange Terminator has the double wrapped leather steering wheel, and it does feel different than driving the Mach 1 or the Bullet. The FR500 style steering wheel on this car is fun and nice to grab, but the paint's beautiful. You know, it's a car that I've always wanted to have. It's low miles. It's I could arguably say this is my favorite car, It's the car that I've always wanted, and it's one that I'm going to modify, and I'm going to do the things with it that I haven't done with the other cars. Um, you know, it has an exhaust system on it, so it's kind of quiet. It still has the cats. I'd like to get a catless X pipe for this one as well. But so far I've enjoyed owning it, even though I haven't really had a chance to drive it very much yet. Um, but anyway, this car is very special to me, and you know, it's something that you take out and you go down the road and you're like, you know, it's fun to open it up. It's fun to enjoy it. You don't worry about it as much. I mean, I'm gonna be safe as I run these cars. I keep an eye on the air fuel ratios and stuff, so I don't lean it out and hurt the engine and stuff. But at the same time, it's a car that I'm not going to worry about as much as the Orange Cobra. You know, I bought this car with 43,000 miles on it, which isn't super, super low, but it's not high mileage either. So I don't mind putting some miles on it. You know, it's not going to be a low, low mile car. Um, so I can enjoy it in that realm. I'm not, worried about putting miles on it. So in conclusion, it's really hard to choose a favorite. I like each of my cars for different reasons. Some of them I can leave in parking lots. Some of them I love the color more than others. I love the interior, more than others. I love the rarity of all of them, but some of them are even more rare than the others. And so when people say, which one's your favorite, it's like, how do you really say? I like this one for this reason, I like this one for this reason, and I enjoy all of them. I enjoy the fact that I can, pull out the keys and look through them and say, which one do I want to take out today? And I'll make the decision, And a lot of times the decision isn't what I think, It's, well, I'm going to take this one even though I've been driving it all week already, Or if we're going to go out somewhere where we're going to have to leave the car, then I'll take this car because I don't want to leave this one in the parking lot. And so, anyway, these are the cars that I own right now. I've had 13 Mustangs. I actually also have the 98 Cobra that's down at Danny Johnson's house, and it's more of a project car for now. I haven't really had too many chances to drive it yet, so it's not really considered in this. But these are my favorite cars, and the New Edge Mustangs have always been my favorite, and they always will be. I haven't really seen anything yet that I like as much. Everything's coming out is cool, like the GT350 and the GT500s and stuff. They're nice cars, but this is where my heart is. These are the cars I desired and lusted after when I was younger, and the ones that I worked hard to get. And so that's why I love these cars, and I guess if you can figure out a favorite and all that, then that's what it is. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. I get a lot of questions, so I'll be making videos like this. Thanks to all the new subscribers. I've been getting a lot of new subscribers lately. It really is fun to see my channel grow and see people interested in what I'm interested in. And so I wanted to thank you guys all for watching too. But anyway, that's my collection, and those are my cars.